a dollar and a dream. All I had was my city and my team. Never had no money and no green, yeah. Still I'm getting there, still I'm getting there. Young these hoes, you can't turn into no queen. You want that clout plus to be up on the scene, yeah. You're too sweet with some sauce up on the screen, yeah. Now you're getting there.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the fan club. It's your boy Dan Brosnan in the building. I have a very special guest. I can't even believe we're doing this. The last OG Red Mighty Morphin Power Ranger, Mike Big Bang Olasky is in the building. What's going on, bro?
What's up, Bangerang, baby? How you doing?
Hey, it's not a batarang, it's a bangerang, baby. Let's go. Man, I already love the energy, what's going on here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Unfortunately, we could not do a Facebook Live video because they changed the add a friend feature. It's gone on all platforms, on the business page, on the personal page. So we had to take it back to 2011 and go on a Skype recording, all right? So we got Mike in the building. By the way, I just want to thank you so much for being on this show, bro. We got a little interview. How are you doing, homie?
I'm doing all right, man. I can't complain. We just finished my kids testing at my new martial arts school, Olasky Martial Arts Ranger Academy right here in Pleasant Grove, Utah. So all the kids did super well. They all passed their belts, and you know, I'm going to give them a pat on the back for passing, but I'm also going to give me a pat on the back for helping them. So.
Dude, great job, man. I love it. And I love people that work with kids, man. It shows a lot about a person, and I love that you're helping the kids because that's what it's really about, man, is inspiring the next generation to be better. So
when it comes down to it, man, kids are... I grew up in a mentorship program, and my coach, he took me all around the world to train and teach martial arts, and really this being able to teach kids is about paying it forward. I was a kid who wanted to be an awesome martial artist. Now I like to think of myself as an awesome martial artist, teaching kids who hopefully look to be awesome martial artists in the future.
Dude, that's incredible, man. You see this, guys? This is what being a Power Ranger is about, man.
Well, thank you. I can't see, but I'm already sitting, so.
You're all good, man. I'm sitting too. We just talked about the martial art aspect of it. How did you get into martial arts? Like, where did that start? When did that start?
You know, my standard go-to line for how I got started is that I've been kicking since I can walk. I don't really have like a first memory of me in martial arts. Just martial arts has always been a part of my life. I grew up with a father who was a Green Beret in the military, and maybe he was like his boy was going to learn how to fight. I don't know, but I don't really remember a time in my life when I wasn't doing martial arts. So it's a really hard question to answer because, gosh, I mean, my earliest memories of life are being in like a martial arts studio like I've created here. So how I got into martial arts, I think my dad made me. I'm pretty sure. I was wearing a diaper under my gi for the first time, so it's hard to recount.
Some of the best things happen when our parents just push us into it. Sometimes not, but hey, thank you, Dad.
Right, yeah. I mean, sometimes you find your calling. I mean, it really just depends on the person, I'm sure, but martial arts was just always in my blood, and my dad obviously knew how to fight, my grandfather knew how to fight, my great-grandfather knew how to fight, my sister knows how to fight, and if I ever have a child of my own, he can do whatever, he or she can do whatever they want with their lives, but they're going to know how to fight. That's just like knowing how to read or knowing how to do math. I believe everybody should know how to protect themselves or their loved ones.
I love it. I love that, man. You sound like a superhero right now. Okay, so
go ahead and flex the camera real quick.
Look at this guy. Yeah. Super nice guy, but he also knock you out if you get tough. So remember that, bad guys. So let's get into. So you were martial artist. You're a kid. You're obviously pretty good. How did you get into Power Rangers? And Three Ninjas. But how?
Well, I think, when you're a primo or like cream of the crop type of martial artist in the early 90s, that was kind of like the de facto or default journey to take, you know? If you were, you know, I was a 5-time world Japanese Jiu-Jitsu throwing champion. I was a world karate form champion. So I was able to do like all of these moves from, you know, at about 6 years old is when I started, like 6 to 8 years old. So when you're scoring that many trophies and that many wins, people start coming up to you and they're like, hey, do you want to be in movies maybe? And like agents start giving you your card and stuff like that at these sort of events. And so I took one of those cards and I got an agent at that time, and she just started booking me for auditions. And I was auditioning for like everything. I was going on like 3 auditions a day the majority of my time. Barely went to school, was schooled on set for all the gigs that I was getting. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how it started. And then eventually the casting call for Power Rangers came along. They were looking for a primo martial artist who looked a lot like Steve Cardenas. And at that time, I did, and I won. So I locked up that part. I think I beat out, there was something like, I mean, Power Rangers at that time was like the biggest thing in the world. We're talking season 2 is when I did that first 2-parter and then came back for the rest of season 3. And so it was huge. Hundreds of thousands of kids were auditioning. I think they saw over millions of kids. And, you know, they whittled it down to the 5 kids, and there we are, and here I am today talking about it.
Dude, that's incredible. Okay, so we got the Power Rangers journey. How did Three Ninjas happen? So you started with Power Rangers and then you went to Three Ninjas, correct?
Yeah,
Three Ninjas.
Power Rangers.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think I would imagine that the gig on Power Rangers probably upped my stock to help me on Three Ninjas. But yeah, so I played Colt in the Three Ninjas franchise, and basically what they were doing is they were looking for the best martial artists possible, because especially with that particular movie, they were looking to up the stakes of the choreography and the fight scenes. At that time, you know, Jackie Chan had just hit the scene, so these complicated, very Peking opera influenced style of martial arts was really in vogue at that time. So, you know, they casted me as Colt, and then James Paul Rusky was cast as Tum Tum. We actually were on the circuit together, the NASCAR circuit of traditional karate and martial arts, those competitive forms. And they really wanted that kind of like, for lack of a better term, Hong Kong Phooey, Chop Socky style, back and forth martial arts. And when we were able to kind of show that we can keep up with the stuntmen and everything, plus the past of having been on Power Rangers, so I was bringing that whole market over, I think really kind of upped my stock and allowed me to beat out the competition of Colt. And there was some pretty good competition. In fact, if I remember correctly, Blake Foster was up for that same part, but I beat him out then. So.
We are with connection, and I brought him back. Okay, we're back. And we got to clip that little end part. That's good. So that's awesome. And so you said Blake Foster was up. That's crazy.
That's what I remember. I feel like Blake, I talked to Blake about it, and he seems to remember auditioning for Tum Tum, but I seem to remember him auditioning along with me. I do have a very vivid memory of me talking to him during that audition. You know, so I think he recounts it a little bit differently. I think he said that he auditioned for Tum Tum, but he and I were auditioning for everything together because we were similar ages, had similar looks, both white kids with brown hair who could do martial arts.
Oh, okay.
So we saw each other on tons of auditions. So I think he thinks he auditioned for Tum Tum. I think that he auditioned for Colt along with me. So just depends on who you ask. I know I'm right. Now he knows he's right.
Now that would have been crazy. The Blue Turbo and the Red Mighty Morphin as two of the Three Ninjas. That's crazy. Okay, so do you still keep in touch with some of the cast members from Power Rangers and Three Ninjas?
Well, I see a lot of the more prominent cast members of Power Rangers very regularly. I do like the Comic-Con circuit every once in a while. I'm not as like popular as some of the more like the original Rangers like Steve Cardenas or like Austin St. John, so I'm not on tour as much as they are. If you'd like to see me at a local Comic-Con, you can always make sure to request me. They all have like Instagram handles and stuff. If you want to see me, make sure that you let them know. But that being said, I see Steve and a lot of the original Power Rangers all the time because we meet up together in Comic-Cons. I'm going to Power Morphicon this year in Pasadena. That's in September. So I'm going to see all of them. As far as like the young cast members, I think a lot of them have moved on from the entertainment industry into more colloquial styles of jobs. And from what I understand, the same with Three Ninjas. I don't see a lot of the Three Ninjas kids. I think Tum Tum has a school in Arizona somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. And I've completely lost touch with Rocky. I don't really quite know what he's up to, unfortunately.
Find us, Rocky. We'll get you in here, bud. We can have a reunion.
Maybe one day. We'll see.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your career after acting, man. We know that you're a weapons specialist. We know you're an MMA fighter. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so in my early 20s, kind of like mid-20s, I was really predisposed, or for lack of a better term, obsessed with the idea of becoming a legitimate martial artist. Having grown up in the Hollywood kind of machine for as long as I did, sometimes what happens a lot to people who have the childhood that I do is they kind of have a disconnect from everything and they see everything as fake, and then because they see everything as fake, I feel like you look in the mirror and you're like, well, you're kind of fake. And I think that's a lot of the reasons why people who have a similar upbringing that I do can grow up to be such unhealthy adults. You've all heard the horror stories, and I'm not going to name them, of child actors who have not made the transition very well. So what I really wanted to focus on were things that were real and quantifiable. And one of the things that was quantifiable to me in that way was martial arts. The beauty of martial arts is that, martial arts will give you back exactly what you put into it. And I think in acting, it can be up to so many different people as to whether or not you see success, right? Like, I can do a list of movies that are super high profile that I was up for and that I didn't get, and you can look at that one thing and be like, oh, if I got that, I'd have been, that person who they are now. But martial arts is just, it's grounded, and I think that's what I loved about it. So I really wanted to focus on pushing that in there and becoming to what I would consider the best martial artist that I can be. Through my mentors, Ron Balicki and Diana Inosanto, they're sort of a Bruce Lee fame, really popular in the industry. I focused on real-world styles of martial arts, shoot wrestling, different forms of grappling, JKD, different forms of kickboxing, Muay Thai, all of that stuff. And then I traveled around the world teaching everybody from, French paramilitary to the DEA. Then I took my chance at the whole like martial arts or the MMA circuit, and did pretty good there as well. At one point ranked number 1 in the state of Utah, number 3 and on the West Coast. 5-time mixed martial arts champion in 2 different weight classes. So we'll just go and do that right there.
Hey.
I'll post that all day. Look up Big Bang Mike's spin back fist knockout. It's a dream.
Oh man, I've seen some of the videos you put up before, and you're a bad man, dude. Like one of my buddies, he actually follows you, and he was like, "Yo, I've seen his videos. Like he's actually a real fighter. He's not out, man."
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I look to do.
So good stuff, bro. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's definitely what I look to do. I like to hit people with planets. and I like to throw bones, and that was a good fun for a good amount of time. And now I'm starting to kind of get back into the entertainment aspect of things, as well as obviously I own different martial arts schools. I own one right here in Pleasant Grove, Utah. There's also a private academy in Burbank, California.
Woo! I just noticed, I think there is like a 5-second lag between us. So like I'll be saying something and not hearing, so I'll be jumping back in. So hey, this is awesome. There might be a few little clippy things, guys, so we apologize, but we're running with Skype things. But before we let you go, tell us, where can we find you, upcoming projects, etc.
Well, I always have a lot going on right now. I mean, I'm focusing a lot on this new location. I have, as I was saying earlier, I have a big martial arts school in Pleasant Grove, Utah. If you live within that area, you could go to rangeracademyutah.com. We teach kids to be the leader of tomorrow. I would say follow me on, if you want to figure out exactly where I'm going to be and what I'm up to. I'm very prominent on social media, much to the chagrin of other people, but you can follow me at BigBangMike _ on Instagram and Twitter. I'm on TikTok now. That's been new for the last month and a half. So at BigBangMike. And you can follow me on Facebook at BigBangMike, similar, I think. BigBangMike Rocks, I think. And yeah, if you want to know what I'm doing, I know I've got the Pop Culture Convention here in Utah in Provo at the end of May. I think I just signed the paperwork for Power Morphicon 2020. And if you guys want to see me at a con near you, you need to request me, because I'm good fun and I work for you.
Hey, let's go. You heard that, guys. Request him. Before we go, I do have 2 small little questions to ask you. First question, what do you think of this new direction that Power Rangers is going with Hasbro at the helm?
You know, I think I'm excited for new blood in the system. I feel like Power Rangers has been toggling between sort of, for lack of a better term, people who like to play it very middle of the road, very down the line. And I think what made Power Rangers so special was that it broke the mold of things. I would love to see Power Rangers shift into a more combative or martial arts style focus, at least in the way that Marvel has, where they're comfortable with, like, you know, the kind of action and destruction and everything like that.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that's what I see out of Hasbro. And from what I understand, from what I'm hearing down the pipeline, you know, I have a good feeling with it, with the whole like reboot with the new movie and everything like that. As much as I enjoyed watching that last movie and I enjoyed the nostalgia of it, you know me, I'm a consummate martial artist, and I'm like, I want to see more kicking and punching, guys. Let's get this done. So I'm hoping that Hasbro steers it in that direction more. That's my hope, and whether or not they do, that remains to be seen. I haven't watched the Sentai series and understood its plot line in the last one, but from what I understand, the rumor is, and I don't know this, but from what I understand, the rumor is that they're adapting that new Dino one into this. And if they do, you know, I think that that's a good series to go for, and I think it's the right market at this time.
Let's go, man. And I agree with you. I love what Hasbro's doing. And just down to the toys, man. Just the simple things of the toys. The toys look better. They're actually, like, caring. And you know this as a husband. Showing up is half the battle, man. Like I swear that, like, Hasbro's at least showing up and trying now. Like, Saban and Bandai, and even in the Disney years, I felt like Power Rangers was just always something that they kind of pushed to the side. And every few years, someone would change hands or something where they'd care for a little bit, and then they'd put it back on the shelf. And Hasbro, just from this new Beast Morpher show, it looks like they're actually like trying. I've watched it.
I feel like, and this, if the rights ever go back from Saban, this might kill me to say, but I felt like for a while there, it looked like Saban was like the hot girl, or the Power Rangers to Saban was like the hot girl's best friend who would always be there for him. Like they weren't really trying, right? But they were kind of just keeping it there, just their backup. We always got this, and it feels like Hasbro is like kind of swinging for the fences with it, and that's why I'm excited. What I think is, for any medium to progress, you have to take chances.
Yes.
You can't just play it safe and tell the same stories you did before because they worked before, right? I mean, you see that with, we talked about the Marvel series earlier. You see that with the Marvel series because they'll cut off timelines. They'll change everything up. They'll be like, hey, guess what? You don't get Iron Man anymore, so let's deal with the world without Iron Man, right? In order for interesting things to happen, you have to be willing to kill the past. And as long as you are keep pushing forward and keep creating new stories, you can involve the past, sure, but if you depend on the past, I think that's where the problem comes in. And it looks like Hasbro's like, you know what? No, we're a new story, and this is where we're going. So let's drive off-road for a little bit.
Oh yeah, exactly. And they're still bringing back like the old toys and stuff, but they're putting their own little spin on it, and I love it. Like their Lightning collection are like $20 little figuarts. Like they're like actually really nice, and you can you can't flip the heads. You can take the heads off and put a new one on, and it's super cool. Like, and way better. Like the old Bandai ones that came out a few years ago before they gave up and so like moved on. They were just repackaging old '90s toys. It seemed like they weren't really caring anymore. They weren't showing up.
Well, and that's the thing. Sometimes we akined it to a relationship earlier. Sometimes people aren't bad; they're just bored, right? So sometimes you need to like decide that this is something I don't want anymore. Leave it behind and let somebody else who's more excited about it do it. It feels like Hasbro's excited about it and they want to actually do something.
Okay, speaking about being excited and doing something, okay, here's a real question. Last question I have for you, Big Bang. Here's the thing. Do you think that right now, today, would you be okay with a Three Ninjas reboot?
Oh, wow. Interesting concept. Three Ninjas reboot. No.
Oh, okay, why?
Here's what I'd be more interested in. I would be more interested in the generation that comes after Rocky, Colt, and Tom Tom. I would be more interested in their children being the new set of Three Ninjas. Because I feel like the 90s was a very male-dominated, very white male-dominated era. Even when it comes to like not to make it political, but we're appropriating other people's cultures, right? Three ninjas, three white kids being ninjas, learning from a Japanese old man and everything. But I think it would be really cool to see, a new set of kids who are maybe the kids of the original Three Ninjas, and the new Three Ninjas are perhaps the grandpa figure, and now we have a new set of Three Ninjas. Maybe they're not all boys. Maybe there's one girl. Maybe they're not all white. Maybe one is a Hapa. Maybe one is mixed race. I think that would allow the story, like we were talking earlier with the Power Rangers series, right? Like the reason why we felt it was getting stale is because they weren't telling any new stories. I feel like a story like that would progress Three Ninjas more so than just being like, hey, let's pretend those other movies didn't exist and make three boys again. You know what I mean? That's my first response to that. And I don't know if it's a good response. It's just what I kind of think in my brain.
I actually like that. Well, I know why you said that, because you're trying to set it up so you can reprise your role as Colt, right? Is that what you're trying to do? Because it was all making sense in my head.
You grandpa. I'll grow up beard and everything.
Dang. That's great, man. I want to thank you so much for being on this show, man. I've just had a blast. It's so cool to interact with people I grew up watching on TV and in the movie theaters, etc. If there's anything else, man, I want to thank all of our viewers too for tuning in. We might have to clip this a little bit depending on how this all worked out with buffering, but it's live television, baby. It's all good. Do you have anything you want to say before we leave, bud?
Not at all, man. The pleasure is all mine. The honor is all mine. I just thank all the fans for continual follows and likes, and they're so nice to me. So continue to be so, because obviously in this day and age, being nice on social media is probably the most saint thing you can be, because there's so much vitriol out there, and I want to be a part of the good, and I hope you do as well.
I love that. I love that. Make sure you go follow this man, Mike Big Bang Olasky, on all social media platforms. Go check him out. He's a real cool dude. We want to thank you guys so much for watching the fan club. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Go check out our Patreon page and maybe cop a t-shirt. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching. Peace. All right.